Greetings! It is I, Tantus Naravan Dracovin, Lord and Emperor of the Dracovin Empire, and welcome. It's time to continue my discussion on the 5th edition of Dungeons & Dragons, 5th Ed D&D. I've been talking about material from the Dungeon Master's Guide, and I'm specifically talking about the multiverse and exploring it. Our tour of the Outer Planes is coming to an end in this episode. 3 more left to talk about, and we can move on to some of the other parts of the cosmology before moving on to other sections of this book. Let's talk about these 3, though. Let's start with the infinite battlefield of Arcadia. This plane is alignment based between lawful evil and lawful neutral. It consists of 4 different layers. Each one is represented by these massive cubes of iron floating out in a void. These cubes are known to occasionally smash into each other, creating this ringing echo that seems to reverberate throughout the entire plane and lasts for ages. And this reverberation of this clanging echo of these 2 massive cubes, beyond scale and imagination and clanging together, is only filtered out by this echo of the eternal battles which seem to rage throughout the plane. That is the heart of Arcadia. Battle, war, strife, murder, and killing. The spirits of fallen soldiers find themselves constricted into armies here to fight eternally against the armies of various orcs, goblinoids, and other warmongering gods that put their legions upon Arcadia itself, building up these armies and clashing into each other in these eternal wars of strife and death. Now the optional rule, of course, of this plane is bloodlust. Arcadia rewards those that slay others, that destroy other creatures within its borders. Should a creature kill another, basically reduce another's hit points to 0, they gain a bonus of temporary hit points equal to half of their normal maximum hit points. They're given the strength to keep on battling and continue this war against other creatures. Next, we move into the clockwork nirvana of Mechanus. This plane is aligned as lawful neutral. It is the ultimate example of law and order, represented by massive cogs and gears that seem to interlock in a strange and interesting way, a maze of clockwork that exists throughout this entire space. It is a massive collection of clockwork gears of interlocking, constantly running some form of calculation that not even the greatest of minds, even divine minds, can fathom what they are truly calculating upon this world. And even those that visit there can feel this kind of order and the influence of it seeping into them for just being upon this plane. Its main inhabitant are the Mordrons, and their creator, Primus, this powerful godlike being which basically inhabited the entire plane with these mechanical-based creatures. Now there are 2 optional rules here. The first is the law of averages. When you do not roll damage for weapons and spells when you're upon Mechanus. You take the average. You take the average for every damage roll that you would have. Regardless, as I said, of weapon or spell, it is always going to be that average. The other optional rule is imposing order. At the end of a long rest, if you are within Mechanus, you must make a wisdom save DC 10. Failure at this wisdom save means that your alignment is changed to lawful neutral, and it will remain lawful neutral as long as you're with Mechanus. As soon as you leave Mechanus to another plane, if you spend a day in that other plane, your alignment will return to normal. Also, a dispel evil and good spell will return your alignment back to its original. And lastly is the peaceful kingdoms of Arcadia. Its alignment puts it between lawful neutral and lawful good. It is a realm of perfect order, perfectly lined orchards, straight streams, fields and roads in perfect order. Everything has its place and everything is eternal. Mountains do not erode. Everything remains in perfect geometric shapes in the way that is formed within Arcadia. Its existences are eternal and unchanging in a way. Now above the highest mountain exists a giant sphere, which half of it shines sunlight, the other half shines moonlight. It represents the day-night cycle of it, and it is perfectly balanced between the 2, rotating at its rate that gives this realm its day and night. Even its weather is governed. 4 demigods, known as the Storm Kings, each have a different weather that they control, which they master upon the plane. Each of them has their own castle, citadel, in which is surrounded by the weather appropriate to their title, and basically is a bastion of that element. Now, this doesn't mean there are things below the surface. Below the great mountains are cities, metropolises of dwarfs that have been there for millennia. These dwarfs are almost identical to the dwarfs you'd find on any other plane, except their types are celestial. Other than that, all their statistics remains exactly the same. Now, the optional rule here in Arcadia is planar vitality. While you're here, you cannot be frightened or poisoned, and you are immune to the effects of poison and disease. So that's it for today. I finished up talking about the outer planes. I introduced you to 3 more: Archon, Mechanus, and Arcadia. Archon, a place of eternal battle. Mechanus, a place of true law and order amongst mechanized cogs. And Arcadia, a place of perfect order, of mastery of the systems down to a geometric level. In the next episode, I'm going to move on to planes beyond these, outer planes, and talking about the various worlds of the multiverse, of the material plane. If you have any questions, comments, anything you would say, anything you think I left out, please leave in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe. It shows your support of the channel, the Empire, the work I do. If you want to show some extra support, you can always check out my Patreon, link in the description below. But regardless, until next time, I bid you farewell.